Imagine, if you will, you're a lady living in Portland, Oregon, and you married somebody from the Middle East, particularly from Libya, and that person, after living with you for a few years and having 3 children with you, decides to pack up his bags and leave and return to Libya and not come back. And then you never hear from that person ever again. This is one of the cases that the Islamic Tribunal is hearing in Richardson, and it's one of many where women who are in kind of like a situation where they're in limbo, they don't know where to go, where to turn, where they can basically complete their legal divorce as well as Islamic divorce. The Islamic ruling on a woman going and approaching a legal court for a divorce is that legally that court will give the legal divorce. However, the Islamic divorce is still pending. Only the husband can give that divorce, or in the absence of the husband, a court system which has Islamic judges inside it, Islamic scholars inside it, that can pass judgment and basically nullify that marriage. Only then is she allowed to go on and marry. So if a woman basically just goes to the court and gets the legal divorce done, so yes, legally she is divorced, but Islamically she is still under wedlock, and it would be not permissible for her to marry a new person. A similar case is a woman, for example, she has been with her husband for approximately 5-6 years, and upon testing it was found that the husband is infertile, and she obviously wants to have her own biological children. She doesn't want to adopt. She wants to have her own children, which is an instinct that most women have, that they want to have children. So basically she wants to get a divorce because of that, in addition to other things that are problematic within the marriage, like the consumption of drugs and so on and so forth. And again, the husband refuses to divorce her and says that he will not do so. And again, the same thing applies. If she goes to the court can issue the divorce, and still she will be in Islamic limbo because of the Sharia rulings. So here's where the need for an Islamic tribunal comes in. The Islamic tribunal would basically hear the case, and after hearing the case, they would adjudicate, pass the judgment, and decide what to do in that situation. If they deem the case as having a merit for divorce, they would issue the divorce, and then they would do the next step. Okay, and this is where we need to know the proper system for having an Islamic tribunal. For an Islamic tribunal to be effective in this country, it's not just that the tribunal issues the divorce. They have to actually work in tandem with a lawyer that can actually take that judgment and use it in a court of law, and basically follow up in the court system, and also legally push the ruling through in front of a judge, and the judge will accept this adjudication, as many judges actually accept. So the procedure would be that the plaintiff comes to the court, presents the case in writing, and the case is heard, and then the court will actually contact the defendant, and the defendant will then plead his case, after which the court will then pass judgment. If the judgment is passed in favor of the plaintiff, then what's going to happen is that the next step is taken, and that is that it's taken to a court of law, and it is also legally recognized. And so in all the avenues, all the issues that could come up are covered. There is the Sharia ruling that has been implemented, as well as the legal ruling that has been implemented, and the woman is free to remarry whoever she wants to. So this is the procedure. And now, can it be done in and duplicated, replicated in different cities? Yes, it can. If you go through this procedure, if you have dedicated judges, which is basically scholars, and you can work in partnership with a Muslim lawyer who knows the ins and outs of the Islamic rulings as well as the legal rulings that can be done. Now, there is one stumbling block that you may come across in these tribunals, and that's the right-wing media that is pushing for this issue of creeping Sharia, stealth jihad, and all these phrases that you commonly hear. And obviously, the argument that they have is that Sharia is taking over this country, and courts are actually bending over backwards to help Muslims out, and Sharia is becoming the norm in this country. Swimming pools are being closed down for an hour a week so that women can dress appropriately and go swimming without men looking and ogling at them. So basically, these arguments are that Sharia is taking over. The reality is that the Muslims, being a minority, they cannot overtake this country with Sharia. It's not going to happen. Even if you look at the Christian issues that come up from time to time, like the posting of 10 commandments in courthouses, you know that there's a separation between church and state, and because of that separation, even Christians cannot post the 10 commandments in courthouses. Many courthouses have actually had to remove the 10 commandments from the grounds of the courthouses or the buildings of the courthouses because of that very reason, because of that separation. So if Christians, being a majority, they cannot implement their religious icons or religious symbolisms within federal or city courthouses, or state courthouses, then obviously Muslims, being a minority, they have no way that they can implement Sharia in this country. It's not going to happen. We are less than 1% of the population. We have different faith groups that have their own systems, adjudication systems, where opposing parties get together, come to a conclusion, come to a ruling, and then that ruling is actually accepted by judges. And this has been happening for many years in this country. The Jews have it, other faith groups have it. So the Muslims having this thing in their within their society, within their communities, it is not only needed, but it is highly encouraged. So people who are from different cities, I would urge you to actually come in and see what the Islamic Tribunal is about, so that you can take it back to your communities, to your cities, and see if you can implement something over there, inshallah.